Mrs. Castle, welcome to Blue Cat Books. How can I help you?
It's raining out. You know what that means.
Your favorite chair is waiting for you by the window. Did you finish your last paranormal cozy mystery?
Yes, I loved Witches Get Stitches. Have you gotten If Spellbooks Could Kill in yet?
Came in yesterday.
You ever read one of these?
Which, please?
Don't do that.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome to The Shelf Life, a sitcom about a small-town bookstore, the man who runs it, and the people who just won't leave him alone. The Shelf Life was filmed before a fake studio audience. Lucy Hatton, the woman who gave up Pennsylvania for... Wait, why did you come here?
My father?
I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
The resemblance?
The reason.
I came to apologize for barging in yesterday while you were with a customer. Though it sounds like you should be apologizing to me.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that...
You could make rent. Sorry, my dad told me... Wow. It's weird to say that. My dad.
You're definitely his kid. You don't have his accent, but I'm feeling a kind of displeasure toward your presence. It's uncanny.
Who's that?
In the chair? That's Mrs. Castle. She comes here when it rains and spends the day reading cozy mysteries until I close.
Why?
I assume it's for the punny titles on the cover.
Every rainy day.
For the last year.
You never asked her why?
What is so fascinating about Mrs. Castle? She likes dumb books about small-town witches solving murders. You know, there seems to be an awful lot of killings going on in that town. You start to wonder if it's like a Murder, She Wrote kind of thing, where Jessica Fletcher was behind it all along.
Wait, you think Angela Lansbury killed all those people on the show?
You don't?
I just think it's interesting when people settle into certain patterns. For example, I used to work with a woman who would send me an email and then call me 3 seconds later. I'd get the notification, come back from 3, and every single time the phone would ring. She'd start off each conversation with, "Lucy, did you get my email?"
And?
And what?
Did you get her email?
What I'm saying is, when I finally asked her why she called me right after sending me an email, I got the full story. She'd won a trip to Rome a few years earlier, but she hadn't checked her email in time to claim the prize. Ever since, she made it a point to make sure anytime she sent an email that it got where it was going.
Riveting. Why are you regaling me with stories about your neurotic coworkers?
You said Mrs. Castle started coming in a year ago on rainy days. Why? What changed? Sorry. I can tell from the look on your face you're confused. I should explain. I'm a behavioral analyst.
Oh, fun. I'll be going now.
No, don't worry, I'm not on the clock. Sometimes I can't turn it off. I'm not analyzing you or anything.
Well, I like to study behavior too, and yours tells me you're avoiding something. Could it be the Brit next door with the smug sense of superiority and the dashing salt and pepper haircut?
I'm not avoiding him. I'm avoiding his wife. I have all these questions, but she refuses to give us a second alone. I can tell she doesn't want me there.
Sharon's never been the warmest person.
Oh, she hates you. Called you a, ornery skin sack of rusty doorknobs.
An improvement. I used to be a rickety carcass of moldy ham.
I've only talked to a handful of people, but I haven't found one with anything, good to say about it.
Oh.
I should go. I'm sorry.
Wait. Look, I'm not one for small talk. I'm not one for anything, really. I don't like to pry into people's business, but Mrs. Castle is a nice old lady who buys from me regularly and doesn't bother anyone. I figure I owe it to her not to bother her either. But you showed up here yesterday with the express purpose of bothering us. You don't get to drive 500 miles only to clam up when it gets too hard. Do you know how far I would go to talk to... I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more... What I'm trying to say is, you need to tell her how you feel. Then you need to sit down and have a heart to... Well, whatever your dad has floating in the black void at the center of his chest where his heart should be.
He loves you, you know. He only wants the best for you.
He's like a tree the town won't let me cut down, but he makes a decent macchiato, so I let him stay. Speaking of things full of sap...
Edwin, Lucy, what are you doing here?
The question of the day.
It's nothing. I just stopped in to apologize to Mr. Charles for intruding yesterday.
You two should probably talk.
Mr. Charles!
About what? What's the matter, Lucy?
Tell him, my dear, or I will. I haven't been able to enjoy a single page of this witch book since I sat down. Your whispering isn't as inconspicuous as you think.
There's so much I want to say.
I didn't mean do it here.
But I can't seem to get a moment alone with you.
You know what sounds great right about now? A nice, brisk autumn walk.
Sharon hasn't been entirely happy with recent developments.
You can all see me, right?
Ever since my mom told me about you, I've had all these questions swirling around in my brain. Why did she lie about you? Why did you leave? Do I have any half-siblings? What has your life been like?
You know what sounds great right about now?
Oh, come on.
What about you, Mr. Charles? Don't you have a question for this nice old lady, as you put it?
Nope, can't think of a one. And I don't see any old ladies in here, do you?
I may be old, but I'm not deaf. My Henry died last year. Every time it rained, he'd brew us each a cup of peach tea and we'd sit together on the couch. He'd watch a military documentary on the TV and I'd settle in next to him with one of my mysteries. After he died, I tried going back to our routine. At first, I tried reading on my own. The house, it was too quiet. So I put on the TV to make it feel like he was still there with me. It wasn't the same. The house wasn't the same, life wasn't the same, so I decided I needed a change. That's why I've been coming here on rainy days.
Mrs. Castle, I had no...
I'm not a very forthcoming person. You might call me a woman of mystery.
I wouldn't.
Mrs. Castle, I'm so sorry for your loss.
You've gotten a second chance most people don't ever get, sweetie. Don't waste it.
Can we please stop having touching moments in my store? It's scaring the customers and making me a better person.
Come, love, let's go for that walk. Sharon can watch the shop while we're gone.
I'll be getting back to my book now, Mr. Charles, if you don't mind.
Of course. I'm sorry, Mrs. Castle, I had just one more question, if that's okay.
You've already taken up most of my morning, so another minute isn't going to hurt anything, I guess.
Has it gotten easier? Continuing on your own?
Well, has it gotten easier for you?
Thanks for listening to The Shelf Life, written, produced, and directed by Harry Marks. Edwin Charles was played by Harry Marks. Mrs. Castle was played by Darcy Cole. Vincent Hughes was played by Stuart Lennon. And Lucy Hatton was played by Melody Weister. For more information about the show, visit shelflifesit.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at shelflifesitcom. Be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and stay tuned next week for the further misadventures of one Edwin Charles, proprietor of Blue Cat Books, only on The Shelf Life.